Today, I'm going to be giving you my top 30 travel hacks that entrepreneurs should be using that allow you to get things like $10,000 Maldives stay for free. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Serious Sellers Podcast by Helium 10. I am your host, Bradley Sutton, and this is the show that's a completely BS-free, unscripted, and unrehearsed organic conversation about serious strategies for serious sellers of any level in the e-commerce world. And something that is a serious strategy for serious sellers is travel hacking. I think as entrepreneurs, especially those of you who are e-commerce, which is what this podcast is all about, is you guys are somewhat uniquely able to just travel the world, and you can run your Amazon or Walmart business from anywhere. And so I want to talk a little bit about the things that allow me to kind of like live beyond my means. Maybe sometimes you think, oh, Bradley must be independently wealthy because look at him going to the Maldives and Pakistan and all these countries all the time. And I know Helium 10's not paying for him to go to the Maldives, which is true. Helium 10's not. How does Bradley afford it? So I'm going to give you guys some of my best travel hacks that you entrepreneurs can use. And that's actually why those of you who watch on YouTube, you see I'm using a green screen today. I'm using my Maldives backdrop of where I filmed one of my recent episodes. But anyways, let's go ahead and hop right into it. All right, the first thing I want to talk about is the Founders Card. Now, the Founders Card, I think Tim is the one who first turned me on to this. It costs like $500 a year, but you get like tons of benefits. All right. So some of the ones that I've done is like I did a status match once for United Air. Now, what happens with Founders Card is they have United Air, sometimes American, Singapore Air, etc., where you can like get a fast track to get status. And status, guys, is super important. I'm going to talk a little bit about United Air status in a little bit, but also this website gives you like 20% off Caesar's Palace and all these things that overall save you way more money than you pay each year. I save on my rental cars. I save on about 5 different airlines one by one. I save on hotels. It gives you status match sometimes or status competitions to get status on Hilton. That's how I originally got my Hilton Diamond status. So guys, check out founderscard.com. Definitely take a look to see if, the different things that are available there are worth it for you. But I have used this to get thousands and thousands of dollars of benefits. Next thing I want to talk about is global entry. All right. So anybody who is traveling, either domestically or internationally, I would suggest getting global entry. And the reason is, first of all, global entry also includes TSA PreCheck. All right. So most of you guys know what TSA PreCheck is. It's where you can kind of like skip ahead of the line when you're in airports and you don't have to take off your shoes. You don't have to take off your belt. Don't have to take off your jacket. You can keep your laptop in the bag. I mean, that by itself is worth a lot for me. I mean, when you guys are going through airports, you don't want to have to take off your shoes and you got to take out your laptop and your iPad and this and that. You don't have to do a TSA. Now, with global entry, it includes that. But there's some extra bonuses too. Like when I come back from out of the country or from a cruise or something like that, I just put like my eyeballs on this one machine coming in. I don't have to show my passport. I don't have to do anything. It's like seconds. I get approved and I can go through customs that way coming back into the country. In addition, for those of you who live near a border crossing in the United States, like I live near Tijuana border crossing here near San Diego, it's a long line to get across the border if you're walking like maybe an hour, 2 hours sometimes. With global entry, I go to the very front of the line and just go right through. It takes me like a few minutes only, depending on who else has that. So global entry, guys, if you want to look into applying for that, cbp.gov is where you can apply for that. And a lot of actual credit cards sometimes allow you to apply for that for free. Like if they notice a charge from what it costs to get that, they'll reimburse you. And so it's really kind of free to do it. You have to go through an interview at one of these locations and then you're kind of like set. Another thing that I want you guys to think about is Clear. All right. Clear is what I have in addition to my global entry. And this allows me to like double skip the lines at airports. So Clear is a separate service. And you guys have probably seen this domestically in the United States at airports where you can go through the Clear line. And again, you don't have to take out anything. You just put your eyeballs in this thing. And then what they do is they walk you right through the TSA line. So if you have TSA or global entry plus Clear, you just walk across the security in minutes. And this is sometimes when there's like an hour-long wait for security, and then you get to go ahead with TSA probably anyways if you only had TSA or global entry. But sometimes that might take a good 10, 15 minutes because now a lot more people have TSA. But once you have clear, you just like skip ahead all of those people. They hand walk you up there. One of the best investments I've made, guys. Get clear. You can get more information on that on clearme.com. Now let's talk about kind of like the meat and potatoes here of one of the biggest things, and that's credit cards. All right. So the first thing is Chase Sapphire credit cards. I have both the Chase Sapphire Preferred and Chase Sapphire Reserve. Now I think the Chase Sapphire Reserve might not be available anymore. Now at the time, like I didn't have great credit, so I actually just like piggybacked on one of my dad's accounts, I use his credit in order to get it in my name. You know, you could do that too. If you have a family member who has better credit than you, just get it in their name, and then, you know, just get cards that are in your name that are like sub accounts where they don't care really too much about your credit. That's what I had to do. But there are just tons of benefits of Chase Sapphire. Now, one of the things I like about it, it's not necessarily tied to a specific airline. So example, you know, you think, hey, I always use United or I use American. Let me just use those credit cards. And that's cool. You know, you can do that, but then you're kind of like locked in to only using those airlines, right? For the benefits, the miles only apply there. Sometimes they'll allow you to transfer miles from here and there, but usually not, right? But with Chase Sapphire, it just gives you points. Now you can use these points as money for a lot of things. Like for example, right now I've got, I just used a whole bunch of points. So I only have like 70,000 points in my one account, and it's equivalent to $1,031 of travel. So I go into their travel thing, which is run by Expedia actually. And then let's say I want to book a flight on Emirates Airlines to Dubai, or I want to book a flight on United Airlines to Paris, France, right? The prices come up in dollars, just like it would the same price that you would if you're using Expedia or Google Flights or anything. It'll be like $800. But then I use my Chase Sapphire points as money. All right. So it doesn't matter if I have status with those airlines or if my points are in that airlines, I actually use it in that Chase app as money. All right. So it's really cool. And the cool thing about this is if you're trying to get status on those airlines, it counts as a regular cash purchase. Those of you who use points on the airline to redeem, like I have United Air, right? So I have like 150,000 United Air points. That could probably get me a couple round trip tickets, right? But if I use points, United Air points, mileage plus points, in order to redeem a flight, like I don't accumulate points. It doesn't even count kind of like towards my points, like for future. But if I actually use my Chase points to purchase this, I'm still technically getting it for free, right? This flight, but it's as if I paid full price for it. And I get a credit for that. So it's really cool. In addition, like let's say that I'm close to getting a free upgrade or something like that actually on one of the airlines, I can transfer those points on a one-to-one basis to those airlines or hotel points. Like let's say I have got Emirates and I've got my own Emirates points and I need 90,000 points to upgrade and I've got 83,000 points in my Emirates account. I can go and transfer instantly 7,000 points for my Chase Sapphire card, and I'll put it to my Emirates and it'll show up in my Emirates, and now I can go ahead and upgrade using that full 90,000 points. So super cool, guys, for the points way of doing things on Chase Sapphire. Now, the other thing that you get benefit on Chase Sapphire is they have like these partnerships. So you really got to, make sure that you follow. Like for example, I connected my Chase Sapphire to my Lyft. So Lyft, I get 5x points on any Lyft rides, plus a discount that's exclusive to Chase Sapphire members. DoorDash, I've actually just recently deleted DoorDash because it's one of the reasons for my big weight gain. So it's too simple, too terrible. You get like 10x points, I believe, on DoorDash, and you get like the automatic I forgot what it's called, like DoorDash Plus or something like that, where it's free delivery if it's over $12 and this and that. So you get a lot of extra benefits. And like I said, usually you'll get some free benefits like a priority pass membership, which I'll talk about a little bit later, or they'll reimburse you for travel. Like you get up to $500 where they'll reimburse you for that, which covers kind of like your yearly fee. or actually towards like a TSA PreCheck or global entry or things like that. It's actually $550, I believe, that it costs per year for some of those Chase Sapphire. But it's like the best credit card. Absolutely 100,000% recommended. Now, another thing that I want to talk about is how I go to the Maldives all the time. And yes, I have done free flights, using my Chase Sapphire card, on Emirates to get to the Maldives. But the more expensive part of going to the Maldives is the hotel. So, like, for example, if I were to go on Hilton.com in order to stay at some of the hotels where I stay at, it's actually like $2,000 a night. But what I'll do is I'll use my Hilton points that I get from my Hilton American Express card, and it's 120,000 points per night. So let me just illustrate like how game changing this is. First of all, when you sign up with Hilton, it's like you get like 100,000 bonus points. And then like after you hit your certain amount of time with certain spend, you'll get even more points. And then they give you like free night certificates too. So first of all, I'll get a free night certificate. Now here's the tip here. If you ever get a free night voucher or what's called a certificate through Hilton, don't just use it at, like Hilton Vegas or something. It counts as a standard room anywhere. So I always pick the Maldives because these are $2,000 or anywhere from $600 to $2,000 a night rooms, and then I get more bang for the buck for that certificate. But another pro tip regarding if you're paying cash or using points is if you're like a Hilton member, you get the 5th night free. So if you book for 4 nights or book for 5 nights, actually, you're only paying 4 nights. So here's one of the things I did. Like I took my entire family to the Maldives once. And what I did was I booked for 5 nights, but I only paid for 4 nights, and I'm only paying the points. So it's 120,000 points per night if I'm booking a standard room. And I actually did 2 rooms. I even got my kids' separate rooms here. So I did 2 of those. So it costs like 500,000 points. Which takes, it takes a little bit of time to, like a few months to build up. But think about the value there. 2 different rooms. I spent a total of maybe 1 million points. 2 different rooms at $2,000 a night. That's like, what, $20,000 worth of hotel nights I got for completely free. And then if you're a Diamond member, which having that Hilton American Express helps you to get Diamond member status, you get tons of benefits. You get free upgrades. You get, free breakfast. When you're at the Waldorf Astoria in the Maldives, the average meal is like $80 to $100 a person. It's ridiculous. So there's like this buffet, all you can eat, which is probably the best buffet I've ever been to, even better than the Vegas ones, especially for breakfast. And so I'll just like load up on that in the morning, and it's free. And then I'm good until dinner. But guys, $20,000. I was able to take my family, and I got free flights for them and free hotel. It's really insane, guys. And again, I owe that one to the American Express Hilton. Now for these cards, like I'm going to see if I can get some links. Like these aren't even my cards. Like I said, I'm using my dad's. So I think if you use this link that I'll put in the description on helium10.com/podcast, you'll be able to get 100,000 points. I think my dad is going to get like 20,000 points. I'll see if he'll let me steal the points. But either way, you could just use the link that you see here or just sign up yourself. And those are my 2 go-to cards that I use, especially for like my PPC. And I use to maintain a whole bunch of wholesale business in order to be able to spend about $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month using these cards, and then with that I can get just so much points. Next thing outside of credit cards is Priority Pass, and to me this is a must. Like there's these cards like the United like credit card where it's like you get to go into the United clubs. I forgot what it's called, but I don't do that. It's expensive, and they're not in every airport. But if you travel a lot and you're in airports, sometimes you have layovers or you want to go early. You want to go to a lounge. We're entrepreneurs. We got to be checking our Seller Central. We got to be checking our Helium 10, right? You don't want to do that just in the benches. So you want to go into a nice place where you can get free food, free alcohol, etc. Well, I go for the Priority Pass. I forgot how much this costs. I think it's pretty much free for me because the Chase Sapphire card gives this to me for free, the Chase Sapphire Reserve. But regardless, if you have to pay like $100 or $125, this is like the most worth it thing that I've done. Over 1,300 airport lounges around the world it has. And that's right. The standard one is actually $100 a year, and then the standard plus is $250 a year. But I mean, I use this maybe 30 times a year, and sometimes it's like just a kind of laid back lounge where you get some like hors d'oeuvres and stuff like that. But sometimes they're in sit down restaurants where you get like $40 free credit and you can buy anything on the menu. And sometimes they're really nice lounges where you've got showers that you could use, and just, hard liquor and full, hot meals and made to order. I mean, it's crazy the value you get, because people would have to pay like $50 to get into these lounges without it. Or some of these lounges you can't even get in, you can't even pay. You could only get in if you have like business class or something. But Priority Pass, guys, is an absolute must. I mean, I've been in airports in Pakistan where I can get in. I've been in airports in Mexico. It's really all over the world. Like I said, over 1,300 lounges at all the airports. So there's very few airports that doesn't have a Priority Pass. Funny enough, one of the ones that doesn't is my local airport, San Diego. Like, come on, San Diego. Like, how do you not have a Priority Pass lounge? But anyways, guys, Priority Pass is another one of the tips. Another tip is trying to get status, guys, on your airline that you use the most. So for example, me, the one that I got turned on to, like I've been a SkyPass member for years, that's Korean Air, but obviously Korean Air doesn't fly domestically. I mainly use that when I used to travel back and forth from Japan, like all the time with my family. But I got turned on to United by Rich Goldstein, who's been on this podcast, a lot of times. And he's like, try and get Premier 1K status. All right. So Premier 1K status is like one of the highest levels that you can get with United. Like there's one more that's high. It's so high, like they don't even put the requirements of what it's needed. Of what's needed, but you can get tons of benefits. The number one benefit probably is what's called plus points. When you get Premier 1K, you get 280 plus points for the year. Now, what you do is you use these to upgrade economy flights. So it costs like 20 points to upgrade an economy, like domestic flight from like let's say I'm going to travel from San Diego to New York City. Well, I'll buy an economy ticket and then I can almost immediately upgrade by using 20 plus points, or sometimes you have to get on the waiting list. If I fly economy from LA to like direct flight to the UK to London, right? It only costs 40 points to upgrade. Now, this is a pretty much incredible deal, because sometimes the price for this flight is like, let's say $2,000 one way business class, right? And maybe $700 one way economy. Well, I just have to use 40 points. Remember, I got 280 a year. I can use 40 points and then I can upgrade. And this isn't just for me. Like I can just upgrade anybody's flights. Like they don't even have to be on the same flight. Like let's say, my friend is going to travel, let's say, Chevalier or something is going to travel from North Carolina all the way to London. She went to last year. Well, if she gives me her flight confirmation number, I just put that in and I'll put in 40 points, and then she's upgraded to business class, potentially for that. So super cool to have this kind of status. You get the first boarding, and guys, I can't stress how important it is to try and be the first to board, even if you have to like upgrade seats or things like that. Nowadays, they really restrict like overhead bin space, and everybody's using carry-ons. So if you're not one of the first to board, sometimes you might not even get an overhead space, and they'll force you to like check in your bag, which is a big hassle. So when you're Premier 1K, you get to board before almost anybody. Like sometimes you get to even board before first class if you're a Premier 1K, but you might not be able to travel enough to maintain that kind of status. But just try and use one of those travel matching things, sometimes like the Founders Card, where you can just get in, or one of the credit cards where it's easier to maintain your status. But once you get that, just hold on to that status, because that, like, not only do I get benefits on United, but for example, let's say I'm going to take a Singapore Airline flight to Tokyo or something, right? It's not even on United, but since Singapore and United are on the same team, what is it called? I forgot what it's called, but whatever team that they're on, now I get to board first because I'm like a premier, member of one airline. So all the team airlines, I get a lot of the benefits as well. So try and get, especially if you like United, try and get that premier 1K status, and you'll be able to like really reap the benefits there. Another thing, like I said, I was, or I still am, a Sky Team member, it's part of Sky Pass, which is for Korean Air. And I probably got like 800,000 points on there. they have something unique called the Round the World Award. So it's basically allows you to take like a round the world trip. And for example, in economy, it's only 140,000 miles. And there's a lot of rules on how this works. But like, for example, you can start in like Korea and then go to LA, New York, Paris, Hong Kong, and then back to Korea. And that's like one round the world. You got to continually go in one direction. And then 220,000 only miles for business class. So like right now I have enough to like pay for my whole entire family to take a round the world trip in business class. And so this is a lot better bang for your buck as opposed to even if you have a lot of points of paying for them one by one. Because if you're at a business class trip on Korean Air, it's probably like 120,000 points by itself. So for only 220, I can go around the world. And so it's a great way to save up and then take like a cool like family trip or your own trip. Just it can be like a month or 2 months. As long as you're traveling in the same direction, it counts. And then you don't have to. It doesn't have to be only Korean Air. It's any of the SkyTeam Alliance airlines. You would be able to get flights. Now it's very limited to get this, and I still haven't done this yet. So I'm hoping to do it. Maybe next year. But SkyTeam around the world. That's the reason maybe to go there instead of like the United one that I talked about earlier. Another tip. People ask about, hey, should I exchange money in my home airport or in the airport that I'm going to when I'm on vacation? Neither. As far as I know, the best way still to do it is use an ATM card. All right, pull money out from the ATM, and that you're going to get a better rate than if you were to use one of those counters where you're trying to exchange money. Now, if you're trying to go backwards, you're kind of screwed. Like let's say you pulled out a whole bunch of 500,000 yen. And then you spend like 400,000, you got 100,000 yen left. It's like $1,000. You can't like stick that back into an ATM machine and deposit it like right there in the airport. So you kind of have to use a currency, conversion place. But if you're just pulling cash out and you can do it well, use an ATM. And one thing that I do is I have, a lot of you guys are big ballers out there for e-commerce. You make a lot of money, you have a lot of money in your bank account. You would qualify for something called Chase Private Client. So I've got a Chase Private Client account. I don't even know how I qualify for this. I think again, I was probably like, a sub user in my dad's account or something. But if you have Chase Private Client, you don't pay any ATM machines, any ATM fees, whether it's in network, out of network, whether I'm overseas. Use an ATM machine in Vegas, right? You get like an $8 charge, right? You use it in Dubai, you're going to get like a $5 charge plus a foreign transaction fee. Well, you'll still be charged all of that, but with my Chase client account, my ATM card, it reimburses 100% of that. 100%. So it's as if I was using a Chase ATM in a Chase bank, like right here in San Diego, right? So if you have Chase Private Client, use your ATM card anywhere. Even if you don't have Chase Private Client, it's still better to take out money with the ATM card instead of trying to like transfer cash and get that converted. Another travel tip. Let's say you want to do business class. Now, this is one of those few things in my life that I'm super bougie on, and it's only been in the last few years. But I'm very frugal. I try and save money no matter what. But one of the few things is like I almost have to, like these days, travel business class. And I hate sounding bougie like that, but there's a couple reasons. There's number one, I'm super tall, and it's really hard. Like airplanes are so cramped these days. Like I need leg room, right? And then just like I get claustrophobic these days, like especially since my heart attack. Like I heard that's a side effect, but like I get really claustrophobic for whatever reason. But even before my heart attack, I was getting kind of like cramped on airplanes. But that's the one thing, like I have to travel business class as much as I can. Now that being said, Helium 10. I'm not going to ask Helium 10 to pay business class. That's ridiculous. And of course, Helium 10 is not going to pay business class for me to travel around. So I got to pay it on my own. So if I'm buying my own flight, well, that's easy. I could just use my points, right? But like, let's say I don't have enough points necessarily to upgrade. Well, what I do is I'll buy an economy flight first. So like, for example, let's say I'm going from here to Dubai on my way to the Maldives, right? That's like $1,000 flight in economy on Emirates Airlines. If I were to buy it on business class, it's $4,000. Don't do that. Do not do that. So what I do, and sometimes this is taking a chance, but and it doesn't work on all airlines, but I've done this like 4 out of the 5 times I've flown Emirates. I'll buy the economy flight and then I wait to see if there's an upgrade available with my points. And sometimes it's only 77,000 points to upgrade, or if they give me offers, like if there's a lot of seats available, they'll sometimes email me an offer like, hey, would you like to upgrade for $1,000, or would you like to upgrade for this many points? Or what I've also done, I've done this for Turkish Airlines, I've done this for Singapore Airlines, I've done this for Emirates, is I'll buy the economy and cross my fingers, and then when I get to the airport, I'll get there super early, and then I'll be like, do you have any upgrades available to business class? How much would it be? And like the most I've ever paid is like $1,100 for that. Now, if I paid economy class for free, let's just say, for example, right? Because I use my Chase card. So it's $1,000 flight and I get it for free basically because I'm using Chase cards. Basically, I'm only paying $1,100 for that business class because I'm just paying for the upgrade because they want to fill the seats. And so they're like, yeah, we'll do it for like $1,000 or $1,100. So for a ticket that would have cost me $4,000 if I just bought it initially, business class, I'm only paying $1,000. And even if you consider the points cost something, it's still basically only $2,000. So that's like a really good way for that. Now, domestically, I really don't care about business class too much because it's not that great. The only time I like business class is like international because I like to like lie down and stuff like that and have the bed and everything. But domestically, here's a tip, is sometimes business class is not even the best legroom. All right, you guys remember how I used to, on my Instagram, used to do this hashtag legroom check always? Well, I'm like an expert on where is the best, like rows in order to get business class. And the way to do that is I use this website called Seat Guru. All right, so Seat Guru, SEATGURU.com. And then what it does is you put in the flight, and then you pick which airplane you're using, and then it knows it gives reviews on every single seat in the plane. So for example, like here's a United, I'm looking on seatguru.com right now at a United flight, a domestic one. And then you could see these pictures right here. And it's showing green for 7. Now, if I were to go on United and I had to pay cash for a business class, it's probably like $1,500 or something like that, or $1,000. But this economy is like maybe $200, right? But a lot of times this economy is better legroom. Like here's a picture. And so what you do is you go on Seat Guru and look at the pictures where this is like way more space than even the business class because it is the front row of economy. So look at the pictures and then also look at the actual seat. So if I like here, I can see 7A is green. So let me search on this page for the reviews for 7A. And then here, it says, hey, this is great bulkhead seats. However, the divider curtain was bothersome. Like you can get like detailed information on what's going on for each airplane, like regardless of where it is in the world. So for me, most of my domestic flights, I'll actually not go into business class unless it's a free upgrade or something, because I get more legroom using an exit row or using that first row. But you've got to know which ones it is, because sometimes that first row in domestic, it has like is it called a bulkhead or something that just goes straight down where you can't even put your feet underneath? But sometimes there's way more room there than even business class. So just know, if you're a taller person like me, don't always just assume that you have to go business class when you're domestic. International, yeah, business class is almost always the way to go. But regardless, even if you're using business class on an international, use Seat Guru. And there's these little tricks where like they're not all business class even is created equal. So sometimes the bed is longer, or sometimes you're next to a bathroom and it has bad smells. They'll like say these things. So that's a great website to use. Another tip, like let's say you live in Southern California or some border towns in like Texas and things like that, and you want to, take a trip to Cancun or Mazatlan or these other kind of like resort destinations in Mexico. Don't fly from like US. Fly from Tijuana or these other border towns. Like for example, if I were to go right now and fly to Mexico City, I would just go over the border and I use something called Cross-Border Express. Like you don't even enter Mexico. You park your car on the US side in San Diego, you go over this thing, a bridge, it's called Cross-Border Express, and you end up right inside the Tijuana airport. That flight to like Cancun, direct flight, or Mexico City is like $60, $70, $80. If I were to take that same flight from San Diego or Los Angeles, it's like $250 each way. So that's just like a cool way to kind of save money and also save time, because like you literally just park your car on the US side and then you just hop right over the border and you're inside the airport. Cross-border express is what's it's called. So check if your local countries have that. And then when you come back into the country, if you've got that global entry, instant, like you get back over through customs in like 2 minutes. So super, super cool. Another general tip is, if possible, if you're staying less than a week, try not to check in luggage. I mean, how many horror stories have you guys heard of people get their luggage delayed or their luggage lost? Don't even worry about that. Just try and pack one backpack and then one carry-on that you can really fit a lot of things in, and then try and be one of the first ones on the plane so you can always use that overhead bins. All right. Like I almost never have a check-in now. And so it's super fast. I get to go later to the airport. You know, if you go early, if you check in, you got to go 1 or 2 hours ahead of time, is the rule. Right. And then plus you got to wait like forever to get your bags, if they even put the bags on the right plane, right? Forget all that stuff. Try and pack everything you can into a carry-on, like a roller small suitcase carry-on and a backpack. Like I've sometimes stayed a week and a half, and I'm totally fine with those two things. So one of the things that helps as far as that goes is how you pack your bags. All right. Hold on. So one thing is roll your clothes instead of fold them. All right. So I'm showing on YouTube right now some pictures of rolling your in order to pack your bags here. But you can actually save a lot of space if you roll it. So the way you do it is by, like, let's say I'll take all my shirts, right? And then I'll lay it flat. All my shirts, just, my shirts flat on the bed. And then what I do is I fold it over once and then I roll it really tight. It actually helps from wrinkling, and you could pack a lot more in your bag that way. So I put all my pants separate, my shirts separate, and I make it into these like cylindrical rolls, if you guys can picture that, if you're listening to this on the podcast. And then I'm able to always pack like a full week's or even more worth of clothes into just my carry-ons. Another thing that can help entrepreneurs, another tip, is I use TripAdvisor when I'm in kind of like foreign places, but even domestically. And so I'll go to TripAdvisor. And this is what, I suggest to people, when you're going on business trips or recreation, doesn't matter, always try and get some kind of like sightseeing. It's super cool. Have a hobby. By the way, complete side note, this is another tip. Have a hobby to collect something at every airport you go to. All right. So for me, it's been a couple things: a shot glass from the airport, and then one of those like refrigerator magnets is what I do in all the airports. And now my refrigerator is like full of these magnets. But anyways, when you're traveling, another, kind of tradition that I have is I want to like hit up some of the top tourist attractions. So like, for example, a few weeks ago, I took my family to Nassau in the Bahamas. We were on a cruise, and then I go to TripAdvisor and then I type in things to do in Nassau. So I'll sort it either by travel favorites or traveler ranking, and then see what's near where I'm staying or where I'm going to go. So like in my last trip, I was only there for like maybe 6 hours from a cruise ship, right? So I was able to go to the Queen's Staircase, which is the number 4 thing out of all things to do in the Bahamas. And then I went to also the Pirates of Nassau Museum, which is the number 9 thing to do in all of Nassau. And it really makes sure that you're like hitting the top kind of like touristy places in order to get the most bang for your buck in the little time that you're staying there. Because if like you're like going to an Amazon conference or something like that, you want to be able to hit at least 1 or 2 things. You don't have too much time. Well, this allows you to make sure like you're going to the top things. So TripAdvisor. And also, domestically, I recommend looking at Yelp, obviously for like restaurants, but Yelp doesn't have a lot of coverage overseas. So TripAdvisor, for some reason, the restaurants, it shows a lot of restaurants on TripAdvisor. Now, another thing, speaking of restaurants, if you're a domestic, one thing I do whenever I go to any city is I look at some of the Yelp's top 100. All right. I don't just look at Yelp, but I'll Google this. I don't use the Yelp app. It'll take me to the Yelp app, but I will Google Yelp top 100 2022. And sometimes I'll go back in previous years because it's always different restaurants that make the top 100. So like, for example, this year, Yelp's top 100 US restaurants 2022, the number 1 place is in Phoenix, Arizona. So like if I'm going to Phoenix, I actually have the chance to go to the number 1 restaurant of Yelp in the entire country. Right. So I always look at the top 100 and then I do a control F on this page. And then I see like I'll do a control F and like I'll see, hey, are there any in San Diego? No, there's none in San Diego. I was in the $1 Billion Seller Summit in Austin last week, the number 5 restaurant in all of America is in Austin. It's called the Bird Biscuit. All right. So if I would have done this when I was there, I didn't have time because there's so many events to do at $1 Billion Seller Summit. I could have gone to the number 5 restaurant that was voted on by users of Yelp. So another cool like travel tip, see if there's any top 100 restaurants. If you're a foodie like me, this is a good tip as well. Another tip. Are you taking a red eye? Red eye means, like, for example, I'm going to the West Coast, the East Coast. I take off at 10 p.m. and I arrive like at 6 a.m. So I take off in the night, arrive in the day. Try and time your sleep, right? So you're really sleepy. Like maybe even don't sleep sleep like a couple hours less than you would the night before. So that you can try and make sure that you sleep on the plane. Super important, guys, because who wants to go on a trip and the first day you're just like recovering and jet lag and things like that. Now, if you're going to a place that that is in a different time zone, like Maldives is like 13 hours time difference, right? So it's kind of hard to like get ready. So I just want to make sure I sleep on the plane. Again, I won't sleep too much the night before, so I'll be really sleepy for that airplane ride. Or if there's a time zone difference, I'll try and like the couple days before I go there, I'll try and get a little bit my sleep on the schedule of the time zone that I'm going to, in order to when I land, I feel refreshed already because I slept in the airplane, and then I get sleepy the time that I'm supposed to be sleeping anyways, instead of like working through the night, because it takes me a couple days for my my body to recover. Another travel tip: Google Flights and Kayak are probably what I use the most. Like, I know there's better ones out there, but I don't go wrong with flights.google.com. Now, one cool thing about flights.google.com is that it's got this kind of like thing where I can see, maybe I don't know exactly where I'm going to go, but like, for example, I wanted to see, I'm going to Maldives again for episode 400 probably in a couple of months. And I want to know where are the top like non-stop places I can travel to and from the Maldives. So maybe I can go somewhere else on my trip. So what I'll do is I'll go here to flights.google.com. I'll type in Maldives here, or Male, the airport, and I'm not going to put a destination. I'm just going to put, leave that blank. And if you do that, here's this thing. Not a lot of people know about this. I hit search. It's going to show this map of the world and all the flights that are from Maldives, right? So what I do is I go over here to the filters, and I'm going to say flights only. I'm going to put stops, non-stop only. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and put like flexible dates, and I'm going to do this in November. So I'm going to hit November. Now, all of a sudden, based on where this map is, I can see all of the different cities that have direct flights to and from the Maldives. I see London, I see Vienna, I see Rome, Istanbul, Bangkok, Singapore, Mumbai. And now I know exactly where I can just have a nonstop flight to or from Maldives. So again, flights.google.com for that. Another travel tip is bring a power converter when you're going overseas. Sometimes as Americans, we think everybody uses the same plugs as us. Nope, that's not the way it works. Buy one of those power converters, like $30, and then you don't have to worry about your plugs not going into the walls in different countries. Another one, if you're using those websites I mentioned, flights.google.com or Kayak or things like that, maybe this is urban legend, but it doesn't hurt to do it, is do it in incognito mode, because if you keep doing one flight, sometimes they'll raise the price on you. I've heard. I've never seen. I actually have seen that once, where I did it and it was like $200, and I did it like an hour later, and all of a sudden it was $225 when I was ready to purchase. So one way to keep it from them seeing your cookies and stuff, just do it in incognito mode. Another thing, parking. Like, let's say you don't get a ride or you don't take an Uber. Maybe you're going far away. Like sometimes I'll do my international flights from Los Angeles. That's like an hour and a half each way, or 2 hours each way from my house. If I were to Uber, that's like $200 or $150 at least. So I would usually drive to the airport. Now, if you notice here, I'm showing you guys the LAX airport. All right. Every day parking is the minimum. If you're parking a little bit farther away in one of the terminals, is $30 if I'm at the airport. The max, another one is $50 max daily rate, $50 a day, right? That adds up. Like if I'm staying away for 2 weeks, I mean, we're talking hundreds of dollars in parking. So what I do, I go to Rakuten.com. Another way to go there is ebates.com. And by the way, guys, this is just an amazing website. Ebates, allows me to get cash back on a lot of the transactions I do online. But I go to Rakuten.com, I got my account, and then I'll type in airport parking. And then usually I'll go to this website that says shop without adding, and it's called airportparkingreservations.com. And I'll get 10% back on whatever I pay. But even without that, the one that I use for LAX parking is called VIP parkings. And this is the same. You can enter this for any airport in the United States. It's $9.95 a day, guys. And I get free shuttle and everything. $9.95 a day. Remember what LAX parking was at the airport? It's $30 a day. So I could stay away for 2 weeks, and we're talking like, barely like $120 as opposed to $400 for parking. So there's another tip for you guys is go to ebates.com, set up your account, and then type in airport parking. And then once you shop on that website, you get super cheap rates, plus you get 10% cash back. So I would have gotten $14 back on the $140 right there. Another tip is sometimes this is for just regular travel. Wait for good deals. So like there's tons of websites, even better ones they have to pay for, but I just do the free websites. Like there's this one I go that's called Travel Zoo, and Travel Zoo, I sign up for the week's top 20 deals, and there's always crazy deals here. Like here's the number one deal of the week is go to Milan, Italy. You get a tour, you get the hotel and airfare from US, $699. All right. Here's another one, Mexico and Caribbean cruises for $179. Waikiki Beach, $600. And that includes airfare and includes staying at a Hilton. One thing I did with my family, including my parents, this was like 3 years ago, I got for $399 a person, because this is subsidized by the Chinese government, round trip tickets to China plus 6 nights in hotels. And I found it on this Travel Zoo website, which is completely free. So travelzoo.com, and sign up for their top 20 weekly deals. You always find good stuff there. Another just random thing, especially if you check in late, see if they have, if they'll give you a free upgrade. Now I have Hilton Diamond, so I automatically get free upgrades if they have it available, especially if I ask for it. But you never know. One time I checked in really late at a hotel in Vegas, and they booked up like most of the rooms. So they actually upgraded me to a 1,500 square foot suite in Vegas, and I was staying by myself, just because they were kind of full, and I asked, so it can't hurt to ask. And the funny thing is, I found this from I took a CPR class recently, and the guy gave this. I don't know why he's giving travel tips, but when you ask, don't say, "Hey, could I get upgraded?" Because it's easy to say no. Use psychology on it and say, "Hey, would it be unreasonable for me to ask if you can upgrade me to a suite because I saw that you have some available?" It's like, would it be unreasonable for me to ask? And it's like, well, no, it's not unreasonable. And so like, it's just like a little psychology play right there. So there's a little tip. I tried that the last trip I went to when I didn't have Hilton, and sure enough, I got upgraded. So it kind of works. Random thing. If you guys don't want to bring like toothbrush and toothpaste when you travel, most Hiltons and most hotels, they all have it at the desk. They don't give it to you automatically, and it's not in your room. But you just say, "Hey, can I have a toiletry set?" You have toothbrush and toothpaste, and they'll give you toothbrush and toothpaste at the desk. You don't have to worry about it packing it in your bag and then worrying if it explodes and get toothpaste all over your clothes and stuff. So there's another little random trick. Only a couple more here, guys. I like bringing an HDMI connection with my laptop, and then it allows me to two things: either connect to the flat screen monitor in my hotel room as my secondary monitor if I'm doing work, or if you want to stream like local stuff, like you downloaded some movies, or you want to watch Prime Video, or want to watch Netflix and things on the big screen, just connect it via HDMI. Another thing you can do, or I also do, regardless if you're traveling and maybe you're not going to be in a hotel that has a big screen TV, I actually travel with a portable monitor. The one I have is called a Arzopa, ARZOPA. I got it from Amazon for like $160, where it's like the size of an iPad, completely folds up, really flat, really small and lightweight. But it's like you're able to have a secondary monitor. Most of us who work on our Amazon businesses, we don't just work off a laptop. We probably have a couple monitors, right? So this allows you to have that feel. You can have your Slack on one monitor and your regular stuff, but you're not bringing like humongous monitors with you. It's just like carrying an extra iPad with your laptop. Another thing, maybe you want to record podcasts or you want to record videos on the road and you don't want to just use the, like AirPods or have some bad quality. I use an actual condenser mic. Is the cheapest one I found. I got it on Amazon. It's called the Samsung Go mic. All right, Samsung Go mic is $29 on Amazon, super, super tiny. And when I go to the Maldives, this is what I record it on. So, it doesn't sound as good as the microphone that you're listening to me on right now, but it's still a pretty good microphone, Samsung Go mic. All right, guys, I'm not a travel expert, like there's websites out there, like the Travel Guy or the Points Guy or something like that it's called. And there's a lot more advanced people, but everything that I've done here, this is just regular stuff. Like I'm just a regular guy doing this stuff. I'm not like travel hacking for a living like some of these people do. And it has saved me thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of dollars using these tips and tricks. So I hope you guys take advantage of some of these. Use some of them for upcoming sell and scale. If you're traveling to Vegas, how many of these can you use to come to sell and scale? So if you guys don't have your tickets yet, don't forget, go to h10.me/S3. Use the coupon code S3BS100. And I want you to come up to me at the show and then let me know which of these travel hacks that you used or you're planning to use. Hope this episode was able to help you, and we'll see you in the next one.